Alright, hello everybody, my name is Dalton Redlinger, and welcome to the first official episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think that's the actual name of the title. I think that's the full name. It's not like Microsoft Flight Simulator 10 or X or whatever, which was the first flight simulator I ever played. But, yeah, I did a live stream on this sometime last week, and I've been playing a lot of it since then, and I've been really enjoying myself. And I've been learning a little bit about a few different types of airplanes. I've been learning a little bit about the mechanics. So I'm a bit more familiar with how things work than I was during the live stream. Now, if you're not familiar with flight simulators, this game covers literally every single airport in the world. And I'm going to prove that to you whenever we go to the actual flight itself. So let's just go ahead and hop into world map. And the area that I want to take off from, I don't want to do like a really long flight to begin with. I want to see how this video does. I know there's quite a big following for this game. And I know Sailwind is kind of my, big thing on the channel right now, but you gotta take a break every now and then. You gotta make it to where the game doesn't become quite so stale. You can only sail around from island to island before the game starts becoming a little too repetitive, like it is for me right now, and I want to take a break from it. So I covered this in the live stream, but for anybody who's new to the channel, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in onto the United States. I am from the state of Oklahoma, but I'm not from a very well-known town. So here's Oklahoma City. Let's kind of zoom in up in this area. There's Enid. There's Woodward. There's Alva. Keep zooming in. There is Freedom. This right here is my hometown. This is where I went to school, K through 12. And let me actually show you where I actually lived for many, many, many years. So this is the town itself. The town itself has never exceeded 300 population. That's not just the town, that's like all of the surrounding area. Like anywhere that is technically considered, the town of Freedom, like out in the countryside, that's 300 in total, basically. Maybe 350. It's never exceeded 400 to my knowledge. But I didn't live in town. All right, let's just kind of zoom in and just follow this road going north. Keep going north, keep going north. This is about, 2-3 miles. So we come to this intersection, we start going west, we follow this road, right? Just keep following, keep following, keep following, keep following. We get to this intersection. Now if we go down south, this is Cargill Salt. This is a salt plant that's out in the middle of nowhere. This is the first job I had outside of high school. I ran a front-end loader here. If you see these white things here, these are actually mountains of salt. Literal mountains of salt. Now, it's been almost a decade since I've worked there, but I don't really remember the whole process. But these ponds down here, this is where salt is grown. There's like a natural underground spring that I don't think it has anything to do with the Cimarron River that kind of runs along here, but the salt that you put in like your pools, your water softeners, that kind of stuff, that's grown here. And what happens here is these giant mountains of salt is brought in from big dump trucks, and it's dumped into a area up here, which is then transported via conveyor belt onto a I don't remember what the heck it was called. It's like a big conveyor belt that basically just dumps the salt up high so it can actually, reach the top of the mountains. But once the mountains are in place, there's a front-end loader that puts the salt into a crusher, which I think that's it right there. It's kind of hard to tell. And the salt is then crushed and transported to the plant via conveyor belt up to here, and then it's processed into like water softener bags, livestock salt blocks, and various other things. It might have changed since I was there, but it's been a while. But I thought that'd just be kind of something that's very interesting. We might fly over this, depending on where we go. So what we want to do is follow this road up again. We'll find the intersection. Okay, here's the intersection, and then we just follow this road up north. Okay, this house is where my grandparents lived. We've got cattle corrals down here, hay bales over here, a shed where we put our tractors and stuff, and then the barn and the lean-to. But keep following the road up here, and this is where my dad lives. My dad and my now stepmom. Go away, Microsoft Update, I don't care about you. So yeah, this is the home that I called, or this is the house that I called home for many, many, many years. 24 years of my life, to be exact. Actually, maybe 25. See, this is the house itself. We've got hay bales up here. This down here is a tool shed where we do maintenance on the tractors and stuff. This down here is our wood shop and my dad's garage for his pickup. This down here is like the work vehicle garage thing. It's basically just a tin building where we park the vehicles under. This was my garage up here. Then my stepmom has a greenhouse kind of a thing going on in this building. You can't really see it, but there's a building underneath that tree right there where my mouse is. And then this over here is the barn that was hardly ever used for anything, but my dad turned it into a bar. So, yeah, that's where I called home. And as you can see, it's a pretty good jaunt back down to Freedom. Now, this building right here is where I went to school for many, many, many years. We'll do a little flyby over the town, because unless you watch my videos specifically, you're probably never gonna like fly over these areas unless you're like from this area and you just want to see how accurate it is. And it is surprisingly accurate. And yes, the town does have two bridges going into it, by the way. This here is the old bridge, which has been shut down basically throughout my entire life. You're not allowed to drive over it anymore. I forget what happened, but I guess it had something to do with a lot of water damage. And it was never torn down for some reason. I don't know why. Like, it's never been commissioned for as long as I've lived for as long as I've been alive, basically. So yeah, this is the bridge that you cross to get into town, and it's a pretty high bridge. Anyway, let's go ahead and we will select Freedom as our departure. And where do we want to fly? I don't want to fly like anywhere like too far away, because we're going to be in a smaller aircraft. But we could fly to Tulsa would be a pretty long flight. Let's fly to Stillwater, actually. There's an Air Force base in Stillwater, I believe. Or maybe there's not. I don't really remember. Well, either way. Oh, wow. It's actually a pretty decent-sized airport. Okay, since we're going to be in a smaller plane, we want to park somewhere over here. So that's 114 nautical miles. I believe that's what that stands for. Now, I'm not a pilot, okay? I know some things about airplanes, but I am by no means a pilot. So that's going to be what I need, and I think that's going to be a pretty good distance for us to fly, so let's just go ahead and do this. Starting off in one of the most basic aircrafts that we can. Yeah, I'm just going to pause the video until... Oh, never mind. So, one thing to note right off the bat. This airport has never been used as long as I've been alive. There has never been any airplanes here, and you can forget about there being like any kind of ground crews here at all whatsoever. It doesn't exist. I don't even know if Freedom has a freaking windstock. I think at one point or another, an ancestor of a girl I went to school with, she had a uncle or something that used to be a pilot, And I think he did some stuff with Freedom, but for as long as I've ever been alive, yeah, no, this airport has never seen like any actual planes coming in. It's basically just a place to hang out, and it's completely littered with like beer bottles and trash and all kinds of stuff. We did have a few hunters that wanted to come out and fix up the airport at one point, but he said it wouldn't be possible, which is unfortunate because it'd be really cool to see like actual airplanes coming in and taking off. And these tips really tick me off. They really enjoy getting on my nerves. So even though I am by no means a pilot, I don't really know like the whole procedure and all that kind of stuff. I do want to play, at least somewhat realistically to the point it's believable. I don't want to do like crazy stunts or anything like that because I'm not in the right kind of plane for it. So I'm going to try and start up as realistically as I can. I'm going to taxi and all that kind of stuff. It is really cool to see actual pilots play these types of games, or I say game. It definitely leans more on the simulator side, and it's really bad when this cockpit is a bit more intimidating to me than the cockpit of the King Air, which is my favorite airplane in the game. Anyway, let's start going through the checklist. Oh, yeah, the radio would be off because I don't have the airplane turned on. So, yeah, that's the checklist right there. Okay, let's go through.
Aircraft documents.
I'm just going to assume I have the documents. I don't know.
Check. Parking brake. Set. Ignition. Off. Avionics switch, bus 1 and bus 2. Off. Master switch, alt and bat. On. Primary flight display, PFD. Check on. Fuel quantity indicators. Check. LOW fuel L and LOW fuel are annunciators. Off. Oil pressure annunciator. Check on. Low vacuum annunciator. Check on. Avionics switch, bus 1. On. Forward avionics fan. Check fan is heard. Avionics switch, bus 1. Off. Avionics switch, bus 2. On. Aft avionics fan. Check fan is heard. Avionics switch, bus 2. Off. Pitot heat. On check working. Pitot heat. Off. Low volts annunciator. Check on. Master switch, alt and bat. Off. Elevator trim. Takeoff position. Fuel selector. Both. Static pressure alt source valve. Off.
Okay, that was that. Let's go to that.
Pre-flight inspection. Complete.
Wait.
Seats belts. Adjust and lock. Brakes. Test and set. Circuit breakers. All pushed. Electrical equipment. Off. Avionics switch, bus 1 and bus 2. Off. Fuel selector. Both. Fuel shutoff valve. Open. Throttle. Open a 1/4 inch. Mixture. Idle cutoff. STB YBAT switch.
Hold for 20 seconds. Has it been 20 seconds? You'd actually be surprised how long 20 seconds is whenever you're actually just sitting in one place waiting for it. Just autocomplete that one. See, I'm still not
Test hold for
fantastic at
20
this.
seconds. STB YBAT switch.
I can't. I don't like that I can't read.
Arm
all of
verified
it.
that PFD comes on. Engine indicating system. Check parameters. Bus E volts. Check 24 volts minimum. M bus volts. Check 1.5 volts or less. BAT S amps. Check verify discharge. STBY BAT annunciator. Check on. Propeller area.
I would say that's clear.
Clear. Master switch Alt and BAT. On. Beacon. On. Mixture. Rich. AUX fuel pump. On 3 to 5 seconds, then off. Mixture. Lean.
That wasn't.
Feet.
Oops. That is not what I wanted to do.
Ready to brake. Ignition. Start. Mixture. Rich when engine starts. Throttle.
Where's the RPMs? Ah.
Adjust 1000 RPM. Oil pressure. Check. Amps, MBAT, and BAT-S. Check verify charge shown. Low volts annunciator. Check off. Avionics switch, bus 1 and bus 2. On. Flaps. Up.
Okay. Let's go ahead and announce our taxi.
Kilo 77 traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha is taxiing to runway tree 0.
And I have... I don't think that's what I'm looking for, or is it? I don't think it is. I'm looking for the... You know, I'll just pause until I find it. Never mind, I'm an idiot, and it was already selected. Runway 30. I think that would be down there. I think. I'm not too sure about it, but... Okay, strobe. Navigation lights. Actually, you know what I should probably do? So I should probably go ahead and get the autopilot set. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just minimize you real quick. Sorry that this is taking so long. I'm not really that used to this aircraft yet, but let's I think 4,000 feet should be more than enough for this small aircraft. Let's go for... Let's go for that. And then let's get our heading going in vaguely the right direction. Okay. Brakes work. Yeah, get out of my way, man. Or you can just do that. I was sitting there for all that time, and then you just chose now to move. Okay, well... Well done for you, I guess. Okay.
Kilo 77 traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha, taking off runway 30 west departure.
I probably could take off from here, but I definitely want to have as much runway as I can get, so we're going to go all the way down here. Question is, can I make this turn staying on the runway? I'm not optimistic, but I suppose anything's possible. Is it because I have this thing open? Throttle. Why is this thing acting stupid all of a sudden? I'm holding down the throttle button and it's not doing jack squat. What the heck is going on? Game. Okay, fine. I guess I'll just. I don't like it when the game does this. Hang on. I tell you, the controls in this game are weird. Like they have a mind of their own. Let's just try doing that. Okay, so flaps are down. Let's go ahead and double check the checklist. Okay, we're past that. Past that. Okay. There we go. Finally taken off after who knows how long. Touchy with the controller. But yeah, there's the town of Freedom that we're flying over. That big building over there is where I went to school. Graduated in 2013. The building we're flying over right there is actually a mechanic shop, I believe. That down there is supposed to be a grain elevator.
Kansas City Center, Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha is type Cessna Skyhawk 1 miles northwest of Kilo 77 2,100 feet. Request flight following.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Kansas City Center. Squawk 6126.
Squawk 6126 Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
Oops.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha radar contact 2 miles northwest of Kilo 77 2,600 feet. Altimeter 29.992.
Roger, Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha contact advance approach on 126.75. Good day.
126.75 Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha. Advance approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha 2,600 feet.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha advance approach altimeter 29.992. Continue as planned.
I guess we didn't go back over the airport. I was going to do that, but oh well. Yeah, let's slow the throttle down just a little bit. No. I know I kind of threw the checklist out the window there, but it's very difficult to do while you're concentrating on just trying to get up in the air. In real life, it'd be kind of a different story, I'm sure, but in this, it's kind of, you're trying to like hold like 5 different things in your hands all at once. Anyway, here we go, going to Stillwater, Oklahoma. If you don't know about Stillwater, it is the home of Eskimo Joe's. And it is also the home of OSU. Oklahoma State University, the Cowboys. I think I said I wanted to get up to 4,000 feet, so let's go ahead and continue climbing. I'm only at 3,200. Keep an eye on the speed over there, so we don't go plummeting out of the sky. Flying through a cloud, what do you know? Okay, we're at 4,000 feet now. Let's go ahead and put autopilot on. We should be good now. I'm going to keep an eye on our altitude, make sure we don't drop past 4,000, which we just did. Try and keep that arrow right there out of the red and the yellow. So yeah, unfortunately you can't really, you know, pack cargo or anything like that with you. You just gotta fly from one area to another. Otherwise, I probably would be like flying passengers or cargo or something like that. But it's pretty much a straight shot there. There's no like wild turns or anything, so we will be there shortly. I don't know how much of this I'm going to record. Avard has an airport? Are you serious? Or is that just showing me the actual town itself? I think that's just showing me the town itself, because like there's no way Avard has an airport. Avard's even smaller than Freedom. I don't even know if Avard has 100 people in it. Actually never been to Avard, but I know a guy from there, or I knew a guy from there. I used to work with him. Had a different job than what I have now, but yeah. It's just so cool to see my own like local area that's obviously not going to be thought of by anyone who's outside of the area itself, like actually in a video game. Yeah, that's Avard in all its glory down there. Never been there, but what the heck is that? I'm guessing there's no way that's a school. Might have something to do with Clean Harbors. Clean Harbors was a company I used to work for back in the day. That is. Now we're kind of outside of my own local area. Like I have been to like the neighboring towns and whatnot, of course, but obviously like out here in the countryside, I haven't really been like to like random people's houses or anything, or I haven't been to like random businesses. So. Yeah, there's like a road or a rail system that goes through the guy's field. Maybe a creek of some description. You know, back in the day, I actually wanted to be a pilot, but thanks to my bad eyesight and lack of money, I kind of had to give up. Flight school is extremely expensive, and outside of just doing like the random flying around, I couldn't really do anything with it because it's not like I could afford an airplane. And now that I know a bit more about what it entails, I'm kind of glad I didn't become a pilot. I mean, it would be fun, don't get me wrong, but I definitely wouldn't want to do, like, commercial flights or anything like that. Maybe, like, flying to Antarctica, doing, like, cargo drops and stuff like that, that could be kind of fun. Be scary as heck, but it'd definitely be more interesting than my current job, which is just a garbage man. And you do get to see some pretty cool views. And on top of like just the actual airports themselves, there's also random people's fields that you can take off from. Like the girl I went to school with there's actually a place in Freedom called the Eden's Ranch, and the girl I went to school with, her last name was Eden. I don't want to say her first name, just for, the sake of privacy, but it was just mind-boggling to me that I could actually, like, land at her farm if I wanted to. Whenever I first got Flight Simulator 10, I told her about that fact, and she's blown away by it. But then I told her I, like, landed at her farm. She's like, "You creep." Like, but that's rude. Kind of adjust our heading here. I think this pink, or just, pink arrow is showing me the actual way I need to go. And, like, this part would be connected to the arrow itself if I was actually on the actual route. Like, I'm veering off to the north too much. I need to turn further south for this line to connect up with the rest of it. It doesn't really matter as far as I am aware, but I think that's what that is. Like I said, my knowledge of airplanes is decreased over the past couple of years, but I say over the past couple of years, it's been like, I kind of gave up wanting to be a pilot back whenever I was in high school, so it's been a decade, at least. Because 10 years ago, come this May, I will have graduated high school. And we are, like, getting into some serious wind. Yesterday, I flew out to Guyman in the same aircraft. Guyman is a town that's in the Oklahoma State Panhandle. And I was, like, experiencing some serious wind. I think this is live weather, if I'm recalling correctly. And the wind is supposed to be picking up, so it's accurate. So take a little look at where we are. Yeah, these are the Great Plains of the Great Plains of the United States. So there's nothing like tremendously interesting. Oh, that's the tunnel over there. What do you know? Some altitude. I think it's just because of the wind. So if there's any actual pilots who watch this, how often do you actually use the autopilot? I would imagine it's not something you would actually want to use very often. Just because, like, it would kind of make you get out of practice or something, but I don't know if small planes like this can, but I know, like, bigger jumbo jets, they can actually land themselves if necessary. Like, if both pilots were to, let's say, have a heart attack or something, and all the crew were inexperienced or something, like, a passenger could actually, like, hop on, hop into the cockpit and talk to the tower, like, "Hey, I don't know how to fly a plane," and the people up in the tower would tell them what to do pretty much step by step. There's a guy I used to watch who actually showed how you would do that, and the hardest part, like the most intimidating part, was literally just changing the radio frequencies. I think he was showing how to land an Airbus, if I recall correctly. I mean, a lot of people, they look at a cockpit and they're like, oh my god, what the heck is going on? But once you kind of learn the layout, it's not that bad. Like, the lights are down here. This over here is like the ignitions. This down here is, you know, the key to turn the airplane on. This over here is just more lights. This is basically just your navigation and your oil pressure and oil temperature and all that kind of stuff. You've got a compass up here. This is, I believe, just mostly radio stuff. Then over here you've got your autopilot. Then should you lose power to these screens, you've got your basic analog stuff over here. Like, this shows your flight level, this shows your speed, and this over here shows your altitude, your altimeter. And then this here is your trim, which, if you don't know what trim is, it basically forces the airplane's nose to point up or down, as well as some other stuff, I think, but that's basically my knowledge of it. Then, you know, over here you've got your throttle and your mixture and all that kind of stuff. Pedals, for anybody who doesn't know, you don't use the yoke, the steering wheel, whenever you're on the ground. Instead, you use your pedals, which control your rudder back here. And your rudder, I don't think you really use it that much while up in the air. It comes in handy for like crosswind landings and stuff like that. Or if you need to like do some kind of maneuver to bleed off speed. But for the most part, I think you're going to be like rolling. You're not going to use the rudder all that much. This stuff over here, I believe this is just more radio stuff. And that wind is really throwing this plane around. Maybe I should have gotten a heavier plane. My favorite plane to fly, by the way, is the King Air. I just love the design of the King Air. It is by far my favorite airplane. We'll be playing that quite a bit, I think, and also it's quite a bit faster. I mean, it's a twin turboprop engine, so of course it's going to be faster. And this is, for anybody who's unaware, Cessnas, I believe, are widely used as like the very basic training aircraft. I'm sure there's probably certain other airplanes that people train in, but I believe Cessna is pretty much the go-to plane for most starting pilots. I remember back in whenever I was going to school, I used to pretend that I was actually taking my schoolmates and teachers on field trips and stuff. Like, they'd be sitting in the back seat, or like the teacher would be sitting next to me in the passenger seat, in the co-pilot seat. And we'd fly down to like Oklahoma City or over to Amarillo, Texas, as far down as Dallas, Texas. I think there was one time I actually flew a 737 to Miami, Florida, and God, that took forever. Like, I departed from Oklahoma City and I flew all the way down to Miami, and whenever I started, it was like 11 o'clock at night, so it was already getting kind of late, but I finished that flight around 2 o'clock in the morning. But this is also when I was like first starting to write. Like, I was writing my first book when I was doing that, and while I was flying, like, I'd have my headphones on. I'd be waiting for the tower to communicate, to tell me where to go or to make a turn or something. And until then, I would be like sitting at the other desk, just like drawing down my plans for the book. Good times, good times. I've also started chapter 2 for my comic series, by the way. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm actually trying to make a comic series. I'm on chapter 2, like at probably the late beginning of chapter 2. I want to get to chapter 5 before I start releasing chapters to to be released because I want to get sufficiently far ahead that I can afford to get stuck on writer's block or take a break if I need to. And if I could, I would publish them in physical form, but it's all going to have to be digital until I can find a company that would actually take an interest in, because I'm not doing the self-publish thing again. Do not go for self-publishing if you're thinking about being an author or an artist of some type. Those self-publishing companies like Author House, Ex Libris, they're all scams, and I fell for that scam hardcore. I let my ambitions cloud my judgment a little bit too much, but failure teaches you things. Failure is not failure if you can take away from the experience, if you can actually gain some knowledge from the experience, I guess I should say. So yeah, I'm trying to start my own website where I can publish my own comics whenever the time comes, but if push comes to shove, I might just publish through Amazon KDP if I can, or I'll just do what I do with some other things that I make and publish on DeviantArt, at least as a start anyway. And for anybody who's curious about the pricing, I don't want my comics to be expensive. If you buy it like chapter per chapter, the typical price should probably be about $3 for a chapter. The average length I'm going to be going for is probably going to be 100 individual images, but some will probably be less, some will probably be more. If a chapter is less than 100 images, it's going to be like $2. If a chapter is 100 to, let's say, 120, it's going to be $3. If it goes to 130, it's probably going to be $4, and anything 150 and above is probably going to be $5 to $6. If it exceeds like 300 images, which would just be insane for a chapter, then it might reach upwards of like $7 or $8. Like, I want my chapters to be, cheap and affordable for just about anybody who's interested in them. And I do plan to do volumes and bundles and stuff like that. Like, I plan to release bundles of 3 chapters all at once. But the bundles will obviously be a bit more expensive, and their prices won't be as low as you'd probably expect. Like, bundles of 3 chapters might cost maybe $10 to $15. And let's say if I make like 10 chapters, I'm planning to release volumes of like 10 chapters all in one. And those will probably be 20 to 25, maybe 30 on like even the longest ones. It all depends on what goes on. I know there's probably like terribly interesting stuff for you guys, but you never know. If you're into like manga or comic books, I'm sure this might kind of pique your interest. So we've got another 57 nautical miles. I'm still assuming that's what that means. It would make sense to me. I don't know how far nautical miles is in comparison to actual miles, but we'll just have to see. And that wind really enjoys throwing this airplane around. Holy crap. Well, let's take a little look-see at the countryside. What is that? That's Gulfstream? I don't think I've ever even heard of that town. You'd actually be surprised that like, even though we're like in close proximity, a lot of these towns you'll have never even heard of. There's something over there. That is... airport? So that's an actual airport over there. Or is it like a quotation marks, like quotation mark airport? Can't tell. Might just be a landing strip out on a field somewhere. No, I think I see an actual runway. It's not a very long runway, but it is a runway. Huh. Unfortunately, like, this game doesn't have a feature, at least as far as I've discovered anyway, that it used to be in Microsoft Flight Simulator 10. You could actually, like, right-click on the screen, and you could actually pull up a menu that would show you a list of other aircraft in the area, and you can actually watch them. And that used to be one of my favorite things to do. And I would fly to what I knew was a busy airport, and just watch the AI planes land and take off and whatnot. Carrier, eh? Carrier? A lot of towns around here with really weird names. Another town over there somewhere. About 15 nautical miles out. Let's go ahead and we'll start descending. No. Down to about 3,000 feet. We'll make this a very gentle decline, though. Maybe we'll make it 300 feet per minute. So in about 3 minutes, we should be at 3,000 feet in altitude. I wonder if there's like actual natural disasters you can see unfolding. Like if there was a tornado happening somewhere in real life, could I actually fly there in real time and see like a tornado on the ground? That could be interesting. I very highly doubt it, but I'm curious now. It's one thing I wish American Truck Simulator would start working on would be changing weather effects. I know there's rain and stuff like that, but I mean, we need seasons, we need snow, we need like really strong winds that can blow your truck over with like really strong wind gusts. The sailwind could also kind of benefit from that as well. Like imagine just sailing along and you see a freaking typhoon just out of nowhere. And storms are bad enough as they are in that game, but natural disasters like typhoons and stuff would definitely make the game a bit more interesting whenever you're out there on the open ocean. runway over there. Yeah, that looks like they're calling fans. Vance is an Air Force base. Yep, I was right. Enid. Good old Enid. What's the school there? I don't really know anybody in Enid, but Enid is kind of the... Well, it used to be a pretty cool town, but after the pandemic, it just kind of went to absolute crap. There used to be a really good mall here, but the mall is has since closed down. When I say closed down, there's still like 2 or 3 shops in there, but it's basically nothing to really be too impressed by. The good old days when the Enid Mall actually existed. Holy crap, those were good days. Those were very good days. But there's a Chili's here, there's an Applebee's, there's kind of gaming companies it's kind of like the GameStop of modern times, I guess. GameStop is kind of a dying franchise. Ooh, there's an actual train yard here. Yeah, I'm not that familiar with Enid. Is that? I'm trying to figure out what the heck that is. No idea. Oh, that's the Enid Airport over there. Which means, yeah, that other airport over there was Vance Air Force Base. That's another airport over here. What the heck? Enid has 2 airports? That's insane. I didn't know that. I guess technically 3, considering the Air Force Base itself, but I wouldn't really count an Air Force Base as an actual airport. You can't really take off or land at Air Force bases. You can in the game, but if you land on an Air Force base illegally, you probably you'd be in some serious trouble. Unless maybe it's like an emergency crash landing or something, then you can't make it to another airport. That's the only way I can kind of see you getting away with it. Even then, you might be better off just landing the plane at a pasture or something. Wow, we've been recording for over an hour and I've even been skipping out some of the stuff. Yeah, that right there is Highway 412. It goes all the way to the interstate out by... it wouldn't be Blackwell, would it? It would be... What is the name of that town? If there is a town, I'm sure there's a town. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've actually gone to the interstate. It's been 3 or 4 years, actually. I don't really travel that much. I like to travel, but it's expensive. And America is just so freaking cheap to live in. What is that? Is that a quarry of some description? I don't know what that is. Some kind of plants, I would say. That whatever it is, it has a freaking train yard in it, so it's huge. That might actually be, the too far to town to do the coke industries? Fairmont, okay. I'm familiar with that town. I've never been there, but I know the name. Wait. Oh, okay, that's it. Doesn't feel like it. Lots of small towns through here. Look at all the farmland, though. Yeah, if you don't know why the land is like different colors like this, all these down here are pastures, fields, and stuff where crops are grown and livestock are raised. Yeah, that looks like just a random landing strip out there. You can kind of see it carved into the ground. Oh, that's cool. So we can see like terraces and stuff. Wow. The detail is just insane. That is mind-boggling. The farmstead down there. Another one. There's another one. I'm assuming all that land is like owned by the same people. That's all like one family-owned business. I don't see houses that close to each other in the countryside very often. What is that? Cades? It has an apostrophe in it, like it's supposed to be owned to someone. Can't see what that is because of the compass. Covington, okay. Couldn't see the words because of the clouds. Yeah, so if you made it this far, do let me know if you want me to cut out the boring parts of the trip, or if you want to see the entire flight. To start off with, to try and like build up my flight hours, I'm gonna just kind of fly around to smaller neighboring towns that are like sufficiently far away, but they're not that far away. For an airplane anyway, we'd be driving for a couple of hours going to Stillwater, but yeah, we've been holding 104 knots for the most part. Slightly losing speed here and there, but roughly 104 knots as the average speed. I don't know how knots compare to miles. There's a lot of things that I'm getting like curious about here. I'm actually going to look that up on my phone while I'm here. like slightly less than a mile. The knot is 0.86 of a mile. Okay, I don't know why you can't just say miles, but it's whatever. I guess I didn't make the rules. So, give or take, we've been going 104 miles an hour. Slightly less than, that, but give or take, we've been going 104 miles an hour. No, there's the last of my Dr. Pepper. That's unfortunate. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to cut out here, and I'll see you guys either on the approach, or if I see something really interesting. I will see you guys in a moment. According to the map, we've got a couple of lakes we need to cross over before we actually get into Stillwater airspace. But looking at the map, I think the best way to land would be coming in from the north.
Stillwater Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha 15 miles northwest, 3,000 feet to land.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Stillwater Tower. Altimeter 29.9er 21267 at 4. Fly left traffic runway tree 5.
Fly left traffic runway tree 5 Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
I didn't really mean to...
Stillwater Tower Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, cancel landing intention.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, your cancellation is received.
Okay, I didn't really plan for that to happen, but, you know, it's whatever, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna start... out in this sort of a direction, so you get nice and far north of the airport. Not super close, but we're not super far away either. It's still going to take us a minute to get there, but at least this way I'll have a much easier approach. But I think I might have gone a little too aggressive here. Let's turn a bit more like that. That should be good. I hope. Okay, let's go ahead and we will lower our altitude. have to lower it down to, let's say, 2,500 feet. We can almost see the airport. I do kind of wish it didn't like show the actual target destination. I wonder if there's a way to turn that off. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh well. Man just loves bullying this little airplane around. I think I can see the runway. Yeah, there's the lights. It's gonna be interesting with a crosswind landing. Okay, let's go ahead and Stillwater.
Stillwater Tower, Cessna Alpha, Sierra, X-Ray Golf, Sierra Alpha 5 miles, northwest, 2,500 feet to land.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Stillwater Tower. Altimeter 29.9er 21267 at 4. Fly left traffic runway tree 5.
Enter left traffic runway tree 5 Cessna Golf, Sierra Alpha.
Alright. Where's the actual autopilot button? Let's go ahead and turn that off. I'll just go over to manual control. I think I'm gonna need flaps for this runway. Famous last words. Well, wish me luck, boys and girls. Oh man, this wind though. one red light, which is fine. Two red lights.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, you are not cleared to land.
What?
Clear the runway.
What do you mean I'm not clear to land?
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, you are not cleared to land. Clear the runway. Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, contact ground on 121.6.
121.6 for Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
I thought they gave me clearance. The heck? Okay, well, I'm thoroughly confused.
Stillwater ground Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha taxi to parking.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway Bravo Charlie.
Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway Bravo Charlie Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
Okay. I could have swore they gave me clearance. That was weird. Unless, wait. They want me to fly around to the south, then come in? Is that what happened right there? That might have been what happened. Why is there a forklift right there on the taxiway? That's not a good place to park, good sir, or madam, whichever you are. Okay, so keep in mind that, future reference, the air traffic control does not necessarily mean you can come in there's so many vehicles, like, right. Was I supposed to stop at that red line? Is that what that was? I don't know. I thought air traffic had the right of way. A little bit further ahead than what he wants, but basically, screw you. Alright, we'll just shut down the engine the old-fashioned way. Alright, so that was the first flight of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't think there's like any additional title to it. I think it's just Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it took just under an hour to get there, to do that flight itself, not counting the whole what 9 p. What I think the time is off there, buddy. Like 9 p.m. would not be the time that I took off, but whatever. So yeah, that took us just under an hour total. Well, fly time, I guess. I still did all the nonsense of the check logs and all that stuff at the beginning. I might just do that off screen in the future. Let me know if you want to see it in the video or not. But that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and leave a comment. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys next time. So, take care.